You're Shannon's buddy, right? We met last year. You drove me and my brother back from Palm Springs. That's right. We hired another wheelman. I spent 6 months in jail. My brother, he got himself killed. I got this sweet job coming up.
How about this? Shut your mouth, or I'll kick your teeth down your throat and I'll shut it for you.
Nice seeing you again.
Hello and welcome to Down to Watch, the podcast that asks, are you down to watch? I am your host, Kahmeela. There will be talk about movies, music, TV, and just general pop culture goodness. Now, Down to Watch can be found on Anchor.fm and Spotify. And also, when you listen on those two platforms, you are helping the podcast out. You're helping support the podcast. So please feel free to do so and listen often and like it a lot. So this is episode 62. And the Hey Girl edition is back. I am determined to finish up this Ryan Gosling filmography. And my good friend and our revisiting Sunnydale co-host Marcella has agreed to help me with the task. Hello, Marcella.
Hello.
Thanks for coming back after All Good Things was, that was kind of a whatevs. But
yes, and like I told you offline, I really wish I'd have watched The Jinx prior to watching All Good Things.
Yeah. So
because, wow, that dude. But, woof. Call back to re-listen to the last episode.
And
just know my opinion would have changed greatly. Had I known about The Jinx and watched it. I knew, but I didn't know.
Right. Yeah. It's wild. It's so wild. So
but speaking of wild, this movie is wild.
This movie is all right, so Drive is what we're here to talk about today. It was released in 2011. A mysterious Hollywood stuntman and mechanic moonlights as a getaway driver and finds himself in trouble when he helps out his neighbor in this action drama. Directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Written by Hossein Amani, wrote the screenplay, but apparently it was based on a book by James Salas, which I did not know existed. This movie stars Ryan Gosling, of course, Carey Mulligan, Oscar Isaac, which was a surprise to Marcella, Bryan Cranston, Albert Brooks with no eyebrows, Christina Hendricks, and Ron Perlman with no mustache, which makes his face even larger.
It's so off-putting. It is off-putting.
Our history with the movie. I saw it once in the theater, and I recall being very underwhelmed by it. And maybe I was leaving a little pissed off, and I may have fallen asleep in the theater a few times because when I was watching it last night, I was like, this is like watching a brand new. Like I know I've seen this movie before. But this is like it's brand new. What about you, Marcella?
I remember seeing it when it first came out. I did not see it in the theater because I have a rule about movies in the theater. It doesn't matter how bad it is. I paid for that shit, so I'm staying.
Right.
Like I can't walk out.
Right.
I may doze a little,
right,
but I am staying. But this would have tested my patience in the theater for sure. Because it actually tested my patience just watching it. It's not until 51 minutes into the movie that it goes full tilt crazy.
Yeah, it does take a long time. Now, and mind you, if Ryan did a great job as this character because he is the only thing that was really keeping my attention. Like how sexy he was in this fucking movie. Like his walk and like the lack of dialogue, I guess, like because I watched it. I actually stayed up. I started it like maybe 8:30 last night, which is late for me these days to start a movie, and I was awake the entire time, surprisingly.
Yeah. I started it, and I was like doing other things, because we're That's the world we live in.
Right.
We don't watch TV. We listen to it.
Right. Exactly.
You know, we're playing Candy Crush or
Right.
Toon Blast or looking at Facebook or posting on Instagram. We don't
Right.
watch movies
or,
that often.
Or like searching, like me, I end up going down rabbit holes on IMDb. Like, who is this person?
Right.
Who is this person?
Who's in this movie?
Right.
Am I right about who that was? I know this person was in this episode of that show,
Right.
and I know I'm right.
Exactly.
Then I have to start looking at, like, where was this filmed? Where, you know, how
Right.
much money did it make? You know, I fall down rabbit holes.
Like the last hour for like about an hour into the movie or something, at some point I was like I was playing 6 Degrees of Ryan Gosling with Chadwick Boseman, like in my head, and it wasn't until like after I had gotten it too bad that I got it. Like I was in bed and I was like, yes.
One of the things I found that was really interesting is normally I don't put a movie's the subtitles on because I find that I read too much while I'm
you're reading
watching.
everything.
So yes.
Like even the sound muffled sound in the background. Okay.
Right.
It's like I heard that.
But this movie, I think it actually adds to the viewing of it
Really?
because it tells you like soft little music cues or her name is Irene, his name is Driver, you know.
Right.
Christina Hendricks' character's name is Blanche, which I don't think they ever said out
They
loud.
say it once.
Once?
Like when the bald guy like talks about her when she's right there. He's like, look up something about Blanche, and then that's
I'm like,
it.
Blanche, who the? But it gives you all those little things, which I thought was really neat.
Yeah, because also I guess it's just kind of because a lot of times I do miss people's names, characters' names in movies, and I just end up calling them by their real life name or whatever. And then it was like halfway through, I was like, wait a minute, Ryan doesn't have a name. Like you're just calling him the kid or
the kid,
but like
him.
Yeah, exactly. So this
and it's so slow in 51 minutes of nothing except sexiness.
Oh Jesus. So like
the elevator scene.
Okay, we're gonna get
kid.
Oh, with the kid when he's like when he's just like when he smiles at him.
Yes,
it's like
I'm just like, well, there goes my ovaries. They just literally exploded out of my stomach.
I think at that point I'm like, he must be terrific with kids. Like I just imagine, like he has 2 daughters, I think. And,
I think so.
And they just probably have like the best time with daddy. And just, but yeah, so like the opening sequence is amazing.
Yeah.
I do really enjoy that. And it's like, at that point, I'm just like, oh, this is like Uber for criminals. Like, this is what his job is.
Well, one thing this movie is it is visually stunning. It is like a masterclass in how to film a movie.
Right. From
the music to how things are framed to the subtle light to the natural light. It's all like, oh, geez, how did everything just come out perfect for you?
Yeah, I think my problem is that my problem with this movie is that the plot itself gets convoluted.
Yes,
like, and it just starts to go like batshit at some point. Like when he decides that he is going to risk his life to save this family that he barely knows, like that. I'm like,
right. I was like, well. I was like, when is this movie made? 2011? Okay, I can see. If this movie was made in 2020, y'all could have just been a throuple. And, because I don't know why you're trying to help this family that you were trying to be a part of no more than 30 minutes ago.
Right. And it was weird for me. I thought it was weird that she would invite him over for dinner and he, with like, you were trying to smash. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, you were for real.
They kept saying on the subtitles that Oscar's character is named Standard. And I'm like, why do you keep calling him Standard? And then he called himself Standard. And I'm like, wait a minute. Your name is Standard.
Why? Who?
All for one reason.
For that
which
joke.
Was her joke when they met.
Right. Who? Okay. Whatever. That's not.
Whatever. She looks so upset about having to tell the punchline to that. She's like, I'm trying to smash this dude. He's going to think I'm such an asshole. I was 17. 17. Let me point out that I was 17.
And knew shit about shit. So I thought I was pretty snazzy. I thought I was witty at that point.
Now, one thing early on that bugged me about him across the whole movie was the toothpick.
Oh.
Now you put that toothpick. Now, when you have it in your mouth, you look kind of sexy with it. I won't lie.
Right.
But then you put that toothpick in your hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think you put it back in your mouth later.
Yeah.
It was in your hair.
Now I'm disgusted. Now I'm distracted
Right.
and I'm disgusted.
Right.
I'm thinking about the stuff that was in your teeth that now is in your hair and the stuff that was in your hair that's now in your mouth.
Right. And I can't stop thinking about that you also gave like a 6-year-old child the pointiest object I've ever seen.
Do you want a toothpick? Sure. Okay, go run off and no.
What did he do with it? Did he stash it in his room? Because he didn't have it in the very next scene.
Right. That's what I'm like. No, you want to give him some scissors and a cutting knife and some butcher knives too while you're there? Why?
Go run. Go run with this.
It seems like a great idea.
Mm-hmm. I have to give props to the costume designer for the most form-fitting jacket I've ever like. Wow, that jacket fit him nice.
That the scorpion jacket or the jean jacket?
Scorpion jacket.
It was a lovely fit. It was, and his walk in this movie, God,
It's great.
It's so good. It's so good. Like, and like I said, like that opening scene after he, when he picks up his guys, and I guess the director was saying that he wanted it to feel like the driver was like moving in a sea of sharks, and that's why most of the scene takes place inside the car, and like we're watching it, and it's done so well, and like Ryan is like great with like being really calm and just like cool and collected, but still like knowing like exactly what he wants to do, and then just and I remember the first time watching this, and I was like, why do we care about this baseball game? Like, why is why all of a sudden this dude is just like this super baseball nerd, and all of a sudden he has to drown out the cop channel so he can hear what's happening on this game, but then like he swoops in as it's letting out. Like, fucking brilliant. Fucking brilliant. Like that.
Just brilliant. I love it. I love everything about it. And what was your knowledge of Carey Mulligan before this movie?
I don't think I had. Did The Great Gatsby come out before or after this?
After.
Okay, yeah, I don't think I knew anything about her before this.
Yeah, I loved her she was in an episode of Doctor Who, a very famous episode, the first time we met the Weeping Angels. And it's a Dr. Light episode. He's actually not even in the episode until the very end.
Huh.
She's the main star of that episode. She's wonderful.
Really?
Yeah. So then when I saw her in this, I was like, oh, it's Sally Sparrow. I like her.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can't think of anything else that she's been in after this. Like, it's been this and Great Gatsby is the only thing
in something called Suffragette. She's like been on the Oscar track for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she does very fun things.
Right. It's all about,
I've never seen
all
her
about the pain.
Yeah. She was in An Education with that movie In Education, something called Never Let Me Go. She's been in a ton of things. They're just all so deep.
Yeah.
She was in Inside Llewellyn Davis.
Okay, I did see that.
Which, as much as I like everyone in that movie, damn, was it boring.
I really liked it. I was surprised at how much it felt boring as I was watching it, but when it went over, I was like, I really enjoyed that movie.
And Oscar Isaac can sing.
Oh my God, right? Like, play the guitar, sir. Sir, you get your little ass over here right now, your tiny little 5'4".
I couldn't believe Kylo Ren and Poe Dameron were in a movie together. It's kind of weird.
Right.
But Bryan Cranston is also, this movie's filled with old heads, old Hollywood heads.
Right.
From Albert Brooks, which you have an interesting story about him shaving his eyebrows for this movie.
Yes, because he wanted his character to be emotionless.
Sir, I didn't even notice. You wasted your time. I didn't even notice you shaved your eyebrows.
Seriously, that was the first thing. I was like,
I didn't even notice at all.
Like, where are his eyebrows?
I kept thinking there was something wrong with his face every time I looked at him, but I couldn't put my finger on it because I'm not an eyebrow person.
Yes.
I care so little about unless they go all the way across.
See, eyebrows are like one of the first things I notice about people. Like, where are his eyebrows? This man has no eyebrows.
I like Albert Brooks. He's in one of my favorite movies with Brendan Fraser, The Scout.
Oh yeah.
I love it. And he was menacing as hell in this movie, but in the most calm, Like, I really don't want to do this. You're bumming me out that I have to do this.
Right. Exactly. It's like, I don't want to have to kill you. Fine.
Right?
Yeah. It was very menacing. And the scene where he kills the bald guy in the restaurant, and I was and I was thinking, I was like, well, you could have at least like done this in the back. Like, why are you doing it? But then when he says like, now it's your turn to clean up after me, I was like, oh, touche.
Like, yeah, but he serves food here. Like, oh, you really could have done that. I mean, he probably, if you took it in the back, then you're in the kitchen and there's food being made back there. It's all right. There's too much food.
It's all
contaminated. You should have done it back at the titty bar, but at least, because I was afraid he was going to jam that hammer in his face, because I couldn't. I knew he killed somebody in a horrible way. Like, my brain recalled that horrible death, but I couldn't remember if it was with a hammer or, as it turned out to be,
I don't know. I audibly gasped. Right. I audibly gasped when he pulled the hammer out with the bullet on his head. I was like, and I surprised myself. I was like, because, and yeah, this movie, speaking of like horrible deaths, like this has some pretty horrific death scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're simplistic, but they're so creative. And you're just like, wow, okay. That was a bit too much. Like, you guys took it too far, but damn, that was entertaining.
And it starts with Oscar when he comes out of that pawn shop, and he very subtly it just gets shot in the neck, and you're like,
oh, is he? Okay?
That's 51 minutes in. That's when he gets out of the car and he says, "I'll see you in 5 minutes," and he's like, "I'll see you in 4."
Right.
That was 51 minutes in, and that's when I noticed that everything it got turned up to 11.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, because he gets clipped in the neck, and at first you're just like, oh, and then it's like pop right in his chest.
And I'm like, oh, he's dead. I actually wrote down, he's dead. Oscar's dead.
I thought we would have a little more time with him, but okay, that's.
I was like, okay, because he goes on, his arc in this movie is a little strange, because when you first meet him, you're just like, out of the blue, you see this photo on the wall of him, and I'm like, is that Oscar? Is that Oscar Isaac? Because I did not look at the cast list, because I wanted to be surprised. Right. I loved surprise.
Right. Like, there's just pop-ups like, oh.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, damn, he looks, hello, sir.
Right. Exactly.
And then you get this, like, weird vibe between the two of them, where I'm a little worried for her safety.
Yes.
And then he sees the two of them talking in the hall, and now I'm worried about everyone's safety.
Exactly. Right. Like, you think, because the way I had remembered it was that he beat her.
Me too.
And that Ryan was saving her from him. That's how I recall.
That's the whole memory I had of the movie too. And I'm like, that's not how this goes down at all.
No, they become like bros.
Right. Because he got his shit beat out of him.
Right.
And that kid was just like, ew. You're covered in blood. I don't want to touch you. And he's like, no, but I'm your dad. Come here. It's okay.
Not
it's a
today.
secret thing between boys.
Not today.
No.
Like, you're not gonna tell me this bullshit.
Right.
So what I thought was really telling about how old girl felt about Standard is that when Ryan sees the picture hanging there, she's like, oh, that's Benicio's dad. Bitch, you are actually married to this man.
That's your husband.
Right. Like, for you to say that's Benicio's dad, that's like, oh, me and him don't have a relationship. He's in jail, whatever. It's like, no, that's your husband.
Right.
You's married.
And she did it again at the welcome home party when she's in the hall.
Right.
And he makes that joke about the noise, and he's like, I almost called the cops.
Right.
I wish you would. Ma'am,
if you don't want to be with him,
just don't be with him.
I know. And then she gets like all like indignant when he tells her that he did this job and he ended up getting killed. Like, but isn't this what you wanted, him out of your life?
And when the cops are telling her about, they're like, ma'am, can you answer the question? She's just like, can you give me a minute? Like, you just told me, number one, that my husband is dead.
Right.
Number two, that he did crime again, knowing that he had a young son at home, but that's okay. And now 3, you're here for, I don't know why. You've told me that he's dead.
Right. What do you want from me?
Why do you want to know when the last time I saw him was? This morning. Goodbye.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Why
are you here?
What difference does it make? You you know where, when, why, and how he died. Oh.
It's not like you're looking for him. You know where he is.
Right. In your corners, in the corners van, I'm assuming. Right. Oh.
So then she gets in the scene when she gets in the elevator with him. Like he tells her all of that. And she doesn't really react. That's what I love about her in this movie. They have so many scenes just looking at each other.
Yeah, apparently that was Carrie and Ryan's idea, was that they felt their scenes should be more focused on the mood and refused to say many of the scripted lines. So there was stuff that was written, but they were just like, meh. And then Mulligan summarized making the film as, quote, staring longingly at Ryan Gosling for hours each day. Easiest money to be made.
Right?
Ever.
Good way to make money.
Right.
You're like, I think we need to do that take again. Carrie, we've done it 60 times. 65 is my favorite number.
Right. And you want this right? Do you want this? Do you want this good? Or do you just want a so-so movie? You want a great movie?
And the scene that I hope she made them do more than once is the elevator.
The elevator scene. Now this scene takes you through, like, from one spectrum to the other on emotion, like, real quick.
It takes you from childhood to womanhood in one kiss.
Yes. So they get in the elevator and, he noticed, the bad guy is there on the elevator too. And obviously Ryan knows what's up. And
worst cover up. Oops, wrong floor. You're bad at your job.
Right. You just came up and now you're going back down. Like,
right.
Okay, dude. Okay. So, and then he's got basically his gun is just like hanging out there. You're not fooling anybody.
No.
And when Ryan notices what's up, and then he takes from the moment where he starts off shielding her and like pushing her back into farther back into the corner for safety. And then he gets in and like, as he's,
it's the hand on her waist,
giving her the deepest, longest kiss. And then he's still positioning his body to protect her.
Yeah.
And he goes in and like the lighting, like I love speaking of the lighting, how it changes. But for a hot second though, the lighting is no friend to Ryan Gosling. Like he gets caught in a troll like.
He does. Everybody got angles.
Right.
We find out that no one is superhuman. Everybody's got angles. And that was not a good one for him.
No. Direct overhead lighting, not good for Ryan. And so, like, as they're going and this music is just like, just like swelling, and you get in there and it's just like, and I'm lost in a daze too, because I can only imagine like what Irene would be feeling after, like, oh my God, like buckled at the knees.
Is happening?
But I like it. I don't know there's so many feelings. And then he pulls out of the kiss and starts going to town on the dude.
Right?
Immediately smashes his face into the wall.
Well, because the guy's like, I watched it twice because
I watched it 3 times.
I couldn't figure out. He was just like, hey, I don't like PDA. I'm going to attack you now. Is that what was the trigger? Why did you then decide? Because he didn't attack first. He swung first.
Right. That's right.
Dude swung first. And he just, wrong guy, wrong time.
Right. And why did he wait until after he finished the kiss? Like, you think.
Why didn't you just shoot him in the back of the head?
Yeah. As soon as he turned his back on you, that would have been your time.
Right? Easy peasy. But no, you waited. I'm going to let you get your kiss. Because I'm a romantic at heart. I'll let you have your moments.
Because I do love, man. I love love. And then Ryan proceeds to stomp his face in.
Right. And he beat him and I actually wrote, where is it? Because I was like, stop. Ew. Stop. Enough. Gross. That's what I wrote down. Because at one point, dude was out.
Yeah.
You could have just stopped right there and just, gone about your day.
He went until he was ankle deep in dude's head. Like,
yep.
He literally stomped his face in. And then you're watching Irene, we finally get to the parking garage or whatever, and she stumbles her way out. And then we've got Ryan turns covered in blood and sweat and looks at her, and the look on his face was like, what? Too much? Was that, where did I lose you? Like, what
Right.
was
Right. And nothing is said. The elevator just closes
what does one
very
say?
slowly. Like it's taken all day too. Like
Right.
this is more awkward than I thought it would be. If
I'm
just give it a second.
I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna.
And did she run away? Did she call anybody?
I don't know. First of all, I must have missed it, or I was just confused by where was she going? Because I thought she just left the apartment to talk to him, and
Well,
like she left
so
her
when
kid
he-
upstairs by himself.
No, when she answered the door and he said, "Can I talk to you?" She said, "Can't talk, gotta go."
Oh, okay.
When she had gotten up from the couch, her friend, the
Oh,
black girl,
okay,
was
okay,
there on the
okay.
couch.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so she was like, and then he said, "Well, can I walk with you?" And I'm like, "Well, where are you going? You don't have any of your." And then I noticed she had her purse, and I'm like, "Oh, she must be going to work."
Oh, okay.
And so he just rode in the elevator with her.
Yeah. And then that whole thing, like preceding that, like just kind of surprised me. Just like, I got the money and you can have it and I can go and protect you. And like,
I was like, "Poppy,
like, dude, what
I could
happened
protect
to
you if
you?
you want."
Right. What happened to you? Like, who
Right?
hurt you so bad that you need to like really glom onto this family?
Right. And he's just looking at his feet the whole time. He's not looking at, which is
Right.
odd for these two characters because they've done nothing but look at each other.
Right. So this must be just like, embarrassment on his
Mhm.
part.
I don't think he's ever been loved by anybody.
Right. Because I guess we kind of get that sense when Bryan Cranston is explaining to her, like when he met him and he's talking about how, he just wanted a job. And then, and we see, and he basically tells us that he's basically been taking advantage of him from day one.
Yeah.
And even just like when he talks about, like when he's got him with the stunt jobs, and it's like, oh, I got you $500 more, but I get half of that. Like that, like it just.
Dude. And that's the part about this. I don't even understand what any of that is for. I don't understand why he's a stuntman. I don't understand why they're trying to start this stock car business with Albert Brooks. I don't understand why Nino is brought in the first place to buy a car.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like this whole plot is just convoluted. And then we get to the point where it's like, okay, so he does the job with Oscar. Oscar gets killed. Old girl gets killed. Like, damn, like that fucking shotgun
Her
to
head
the head,
exploded.
like 2 inches away. Like that's a little overkill, but okay.
Was that necessary? She was on your side.
She probably wasn't gonna say nothing to nobody.
No, she wasn't.
And then it turns into like, okay, so surprise. So Ron Perlman or whatever, he set up for that money to be stolen from the family because the family was going to use that money to start a business that was rivaling theirs.
Yeah, I guess.
That makes zero. That's not a reason.
That's not good business.
No, that's not a good reason. So,
No.
So McDonald's steals the money that Burger King was going to invest to open a Burger King across the street and gets a bunch of people killed. Like that just it's
And Albert Brooks this whole time is like, I told you to leave him alone.
right.
That you should have just left it alone. Just let him go.
Right. Just let
But
him
no.
give you the money back. And because he didn't want any parts of it. He didn't want to be
Right.
any part. He just wanted to give you your money back. But no, you had to be a dick and start killing people and threatening families and stuff and kids. So
Well, because we knew things went a little haywire when him and Christina Hendricks are at the motel,
and then he
and the
slaps her. It's
newscast
like,
is
damn.
saying that he's dead and no money was stolen.
Right.
And he's looking at the bag like,
There's a lot of money that was stolen.
and we're only getting 40 grand?
Right.
Something fucked up.
Yep.
This shit ain't right. And the whole time I'm writing, I wrote down twice, 2 different parts. I'm like, take the money and leave.
Mm-hmm.
Take the money and leave.
Right.
Go get her. Take the money and leave.
Exactly.
But no, nobody takes the money. He didn't even give her any of it.
He leaves it after he killed. So yeah, so finally, him and Albert Brooks meet, and Albert's like, give me the money back, and I promise you the girl and the boy won't be hurt, but I can't give you the same promise. And he's like, all right, cool. I got
That's
the money.
actually an awesome speech.
Yeah.
I was like, well, thank you for being honest.
Right. Seriously.
Like, thank you. Not, don't thank you for not letting me think my life was going to go on. He was
Right.
like, any plans you have, any ideas you had about your future, you should put those on hold. I'm just saying.
Right. You're going to be looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life. I appreciate you, sir, for laying that out very point blank and to the period. And then so like he goes out and gives him to give him the money, and Albert stabs him, and then he stabs Albert.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what he stabbed Albert with. Did he like take the knife out of his own
That's
gut
what I was
and stab
wondering,
Albert in the neck with it?
I think so.
That is hardcore.
Right?
Like that is baller shit right there. And then he doesn't die. Like, I don't understand. I kept expecting him to wreck the car or like slowly pull over and die. You're stabbed in your belly.
Right.
Are you not gonna die?
I guess he drove himself to the hospital. Like
We don't know.
When he was like laying there, I'm like, my whole thing was like, I had written down, it's like, you can't die right now because old girl doesn't know where you are and this money is just lying around somewhere. Like, you can't die here now. Like, you can't do this. So I'm like, and he wakes up and it's like, great. And then he drives off and leaves the bag behind. And I'm like, fuck you, sir. Fuck you. I was just as infuriated as the first time around. Like, this is.
And then I forgot to time it, but it has to be at least a full minute and 30 of just a close up on his face, not blinking,
Right.
wondering, is he dead? Is he alive?
Is
he dead?
Which I appreciate for suspense reasons. But still, like, the leaving of the money, because, okay, I get it, the money's dirty, whatever, but just because she doesn't get the money, that doesn't stop the fact that people think that she has the money.
Right.
That whoever's money that is, they're still going to come after her. And if she doesn't have it, they're not going to believe she doesn't have it. And it's
because you've now killed the one person that was going to tell everyone she was safe.
Right. Exactly.
You killed Bernie.
Right.
And now you're just driving off. No one's going to believe if you're not dead and she's not dead. And that money, because the first bum that walks by.
Right. Exactly.
It reminds me of that scene in Angel when he got his throat slit, or Owen Wesley got his throat slit. And that guy stumbles upon him in the park.
Takes his little.
And you're like, oh, he's going to save him. No, this bitch just drags his ass off into the bushes and takes his wallet.
Right. Fucker.
That's what's going to happen in this parking lot. Someone's going to stumble by. And they're like, ooh, dead guy. Ooh.
Lots
of money.
Cash. Yeah.
Or it's going to start blowing around because you left the bag open as well.
It's just so many things.
So many things. And Nino, here's what bugs me about Nino, the Nino character. You're supposed to be this up-and-coming badass, right? Why did you leave your party with only a driver?
Yeah.
Why did you have no escort? It was way too easy
to get to him. And I was also quite unsatisfied with the killing of Nino, because it's like you spent a lot of time and energy getting the audience to hate this character, and yet we don't get the satisfaction of seeing like a brutal killing of him. Like, he just like gets drowned in the ocean. That's not fair.
And it makes no sense. Where were you going to go? Why were you running towards the ocean? Where were you going?
It also makes no sense why Ryan would go get that mask.
Why are you wearing it? It's so scary. It's so creepy.
It's like you're killing him. And you've killed a lot of people already without any sort of mask on.
Or even changing your clothes. The fact that you're still wearing that blood-soaked jacket all over town. Why has no one asked why you're so bloody?
It's like, excuse me.
Sir, are you okay? Do you need a wet nap?
Can I call someone for you?
Now, the scene where him and Christina Hendricks are chased away from the pawn shop, when they're driving, when they're having that high-speed chase, was that the same road from the Bye 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 video where
Why
JC
was I thinking
and
the
Lance...
same thing? I was thinking the same thing.
All I could see was JC in the car.
Right.
Like, I think this is that road.
It's like, maybe this is just a thing that like this is like the designated high-speed chase road for Hollywood, because it also reminded me of a scene in Mission Impossible 2.
With Tandy Newton.
Yes.
Yes. I think it's the same street. It has to be the same stretch of like the PCH or something.
Yeah, it's got to be like the one designated spot where they're allowed to film these chases.
Which that was a good chase. All of the driving in this movie was top notch.
Yeah. Oh,
Especially his little high speed turnaround there. I was like, wow, that was way sexier than it should have been.
Right? It's like, man, okay, all right. I'm feeling things that I never thought I would feel before about cars and speed.
But then think about it. You have felt them before. Because think about Gone in 60 Seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Think about the Transporter movies. Hot guy, hot car equals feelings.
Yeah, when they're, yeah, I don't know what it is. And though, like, you know, if I were to be in the driver's seat, the passenger seat next to them, I would not be feeling those feelings.
Well, so it makes me wonder if from, what was it? Too Fast, Too Furious. Ryan's lady love, Eva Mendes, is in that with Paul Walker, and he does a drive and stare on her. After learning his driving stunts, you gotta wonder if Ryan pulled the drive and stare on Eva.
Probably. He seems like that type of person. He seems like that type of dude that would just be like, yeah, yep.
I can do this for real.
And speaking of stares, he's got a great, I love his intimidating stare in this movie, like especially illustrated when that guy recognizes him in the diner. And
That scene was so weird.
Dude, I fucking loved it. Like, cause it was odd to me. Like, okay, so I guess you went to go get pie after your girl that you want, her husband, whatever. So, you know, you'll
like delicious pie.
soothe your soul. Right.
With the best looking pie.
Exactly. And then like the dude recognizes him from another job and tries to hire him. And he's just like, he just full on like bores a hole in his face, stares at him, tells him, you know, what you're not gonna do is talk to me about this in public, because I'm going to shut you up by kicking your teeth down your throat. And he just continues to stare at him until the dude walks away, and stares and stares and stares until finally he breaks the stare and takes a sip of his coffee. I'm like, wow, that is.
And the scene when he's beating up Cook, and he's on the phone with Nino, and he's staring down at Cook. But so Ryan does this thing across the entire movie. I noticed it several times. He clenches and he unclenches his fists when he's upset. And he's holding that hammer, and you can tell he's getting more and more angry because he keeps clenching. And is there anything sexier than a clenched jaw?
No.
When you can actually see that, we've seen it with Spike before.
Yep.
We love it when Spike does it.
That clenched jaw.
And there's a good scene of it in this movie.
Yeah.
Where you just see Ryan's jaw just tighten up, and I'm just like, oh my God, I hate you, Eva. I hate you so much.
Right.
This entire movie is a thirst trap. The whole movie.
It is. Absolutely. Yep.
The whole goddamn movie.
From 0 to 1 hour and 28 minutes. It's an entire thirst trap. Like with him fresh and clean, covered in blood and sweat. Like just like whatever, man. Just always just splooge.
There's only one part that's not, and it's when he has that mask on.
Yeah.
I really don't like it. But it's top-notch acting from everyone in the movie. Bryan Cranston's amazing. Oscar's amazing. Christina Hendricks she's all right with what she was given.
Yeah, I know. She really wasn't given too much. And I was also a little bit concerned about the shoes that she was wearing.
Yeah.
It looked like she was going...
You don't do crime in those shoes.
No, it looked like she was going to fall at any moment, just like bust a hip. Just like...
Only one person in the history of film has been able to do action sequences in pumps. And it was Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard actually wore those damn pumps that whole movie running around.
Bless her soul.
Right.
Bless her soul.
Romancing the Stone. Michael Douglas knew better and cut her damn heels off.
Which to this day I give props. I was like, right? Yes. And that's how we acknowledge that. That's how we take care of that bullshit.
You just don't do it. You don't do it.
All right.
But it's a top-notch cast all around.
All right.
Although women are not very important.
No. I was a little bit miffed by the fact that up to this point, like, he had threatened maybe a couple of guys before, you know, the shit goes sideways part, and then like the first person that he actually lays hands on is a woman, which
Right.
that kind of fucked with me. And I was
It
like,
did.
you know what, that's not cool.
And I don't know if it's just because we're black women, but the second he put those gloves on, I was like, you need to go.
Right? It's like, no.
Long before he locked the door.
No. Yeah, sweetie, no. He would have started putting those gloves on. I would have already been out the door. Like, nah.
Right.
Like,
He's going to put hands on you.
Chain
He's
swinging.
going to put
Yeah.
You need to go.
Oh, nope.
Blanche.
You need Blanche, get your ass out of there. It's all right. This is what I know. No, girl. You
Yeah,
in
that
danger.
upset me too. That the first person he actually got physical with, he slapped the shit out of her too.
Yeah.
But
Although
that's all he did. And then he just held her. He could have done much worse.
he could have, and I'm
The threat.
yeah, and it's, you know, there are so many points in this, and this is like one of them where I probably would not have been scared of him at that time.
Nope.
Like, I'm
An inappropriate giggle would have come out.
Right.
It would not have
It's
been my
like
fault.
inching out of my pants.
Right?
Oh, we gonna do this? I'm like,
Even when he said, if you lie to me, I'm going to hurt you. Like,
how much?
just a little? Or like, are we talking like remove my fingernails or just a little choking?
Hey, just a little choking, little shake me just a little bit. Just slam me up against the wall. Yeah.
But then, like, I didn't understand what she was doing in the bathroom. Was she putting more makeup on? Why?
I think she was gathering herself. I don't know. Like,
And then her head disappeared.
right. There was another like real like thirst trap scene when he brings them home after he helps with the groceries, and he's in her house or in her apartment. He's drinking water, and he like leans up against the wall and the stare that he gives her as he's drinking the water. Benicia,
There's several scenes of him just leaning. There's the
Yeah.
one where he's just in his jacket in his apartment.
Yeah.
Which
and
I
Benicia
don't
would have been
understand the
sent
layouts of those apartments.
Benicia would have been sent to like a neighbor's house like immediately. It's like, Mama has some things to do. You have to.
Right? And when he was like, I don't have plans this weekend. Is that a hint?
Is that?
Am I supposed to? Okay.
Yeah.
And then and there was a long pause. And then it was, if you need a ride or something.
Yeah. I got you. I got your ride.
And I think I wrote down, I'm going to ride something. He just seemed very strange overall. Like, I couldn't really pin his character down because he's very serious. But then in the scene where Shannon tells him, I told her you'd take her home, he's like, I don't have wheels on my car.
Right.
But, well, I didn't mean immediately put the fucking wheels on your car and then take her home.
Obviously. Damn it.
Right.
Cues. Social cues.
Right.
and also when she shows up at the auto place and Shannon is like, oh, you guys know each other. And then he's like, don't. And he gets a smile on his face. And he just kind of ducks away. And
and you can tell that he really cares about Shannon as well, because he's really upset when he he told him to leave,
Right.
and he's so upset. But I don't understand why he mushed his face to the side. I thought he was gonna like close his eyes or something, but what?
Were we just double checking that he was dead?
Right, you just don't want him looking at you while you say you're. And the fact that Shannon's like right there, and the money's right behind him.
Right.
The money is in the trunk of the car. Bernie's there with the money when he kills him.
Right.
But it just overall, like you said, it's very convoluted. None of it makes any sense. A whole lot of people died for no reason.
Yeah.
And we don't meet this mysterious family.
Right. It's like, okay, so we're like, what? Like an hour in, like we had 20 minutes left of the movie, and now we want to introduce this family that everybody's scared.
The mob, where suddenly this is a mob thing?
Since when?
Okay.
What did we?
Okay.
All right, so some fun facts about this film was that, first of all, Ryan Gosling replaced Hugh Jackman.
Would have worked.
Would have?
Oh.
Really?
Hugh? Yes, because Hugh, when he's not Wolverine can slim down to this very like muscular, kind of attractive. Think of Swordfish, the movie Swordfish. He was incredibly attractive, real still, so stacked, so cute.
Yeah.
So cute. He could have done it. It would have been good either way. I don't think it would have changed much, or even it would have been the same exact movie.
Interesting. Also, after Ryan and Nicholas, the director, removed much of the driver's dialogue, Bryan Cranston felt that his character Shannon should make up for the lack of talking in the film, and thus made Shannon a motor mouth. Much of his dialogue was improvised.
Makes sense, because none of it makes any sense.
Because there's a lot of just blabbering.
Just thinking on the top of your head. I'm like, why are you still talking?
Right.
What?
And although many stunt drivers are credited, Ryan did a number of stunts himself after completing a stunt driving car crash course.
That's hot.
Yeah,
That's
it
pretty
is.
hot.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. So the soundtrack for this film, the score was done by Cliff Martinez, and to me, this is what pink neon sounds like. Like this.
I really liked it. There was one problem with it, is that I guess Stranger Things should remind me of Drive,
Right.
but instead, I just kept thinking about Stranger Things the whole
Right.
time I was watching it. I was like, this sounds so much like Stranger Things.
I found it kind of distracting, and it kept taking me out of the film, and I'm not even sure exactly why we decided it was going to be like this 80s synth pop stuff.
The hero song that I forget what the hero. I think it's cute. I liked it a lot, but it's almost a character in the movie.
Right. Yeah, and there was another song that I think it's called Wrong Floor that they play every time
They're in the elevator.
Irene and Driver interact, because that's supposed to mark these are the moments that he spends with her are his happiest. Which obviously, like the rest of his life, is just basically like Ubering criminals and
right,
bashing people
and stunt driving,
stomping people's heads in. Like, sure, yeah. So I mean, I guess that's why he fell in love with them so much. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just the level of dedication that he has to her and that kid after like what, a week? Like y'all been hanging out.
All you did was drive them home from some groceries. You haven't really spoke to them at all.
Right.
And now suddenly you're just going to insert yourself into their lives. Okay.
Which, sure. All right. So ratings 1 to 5. The movie itself. I give it. The movie itself, this is difficult. I'm going to say 3.5. Because I was
going to say, I say 3.5, only because it took 51 minutes to actually pique my interest.
Right. And I give it like 3.5 because the plot got so convoluted. And I'm just like, none of this makes sense to me.
No.
Because I mean, there was everything else, the acting, like everyone's performances, the visuals, everything else was spot on as far. Mm-hmm. But I think my main problem was the plot and the soundtrack, the score. And I give Ryan a 5.
Yeah, he gets a 5. He full on gets a 5. Maybe a 5.5.
Right? Totes, just way up there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because his poster for this movie, I'm just like, that's why. Yeah, he's just so good looking in this movie.
Yeah, like there's a shot when he goes to steal that mask where he picks it up and he's got the sunglasses on, and there's like the upward, like that is the chef's kiss to that. And whoever framed that one up, that was beautiful. Are we down to watch again? Parts of it I would watch again. Maybe I would put it on in the background. But for me to like, hey, it's movie night, let's watch Drive, that's not gonna happen.
No. If I stumbled across it on USA, I might leave it on while I was cleaning, as long as I was past the 51-minute mark.
Right.
I'm not watching the beginning of that movie again. Unless it's just like clips. Unless I just really want to see a good Ryan Gosling.
Just like a montage of the beauty that is Ryan. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you can watch it on Netflix. It is streaming for free on Netflix right now. So if this piques your curiosity or you want to go ahead and, watch it again, Netflix. And the Bechdel test, does it pass it? No.
No, not at all. We're lucky there are even women in the movie.
Right. There are 2 named women in this film, and neither one of them talk to each other. They never even meet. So
they have names.
Yep.
But
that's as far as we go.
I still got the money. You could have it if you wanted to. You could take Benicio. I just thought you could get out of here if you wanted. I could come with you. I could look out for you.
The Gosling gauge. There are certain types of characters that Ryan tends to gravitate towards, and this is kind of one of them. For one, does he sing or dance? No.
Sadly, no.
And there was a moment Dan was watching it with me, and when he finds Bernie or Shannon dead, and that song starts to play, and there's someone singing. Dan thought that it was Ryan Star. He's like, is he singing?
Oh, that would have been so funny. I'd have lost my shit.
I know. I giggled for like a good 15 minutes just at the thought of that. Is this character eccentric? Yes.
Yeah.
And did he disappear into character? Yes.
No.
I think he did, because this isn't. I don't imagine Ryan is like this.
There are aspects of this character that I think are very Ryan.
Probably like the interactions with the little boy.
And the quiet, suave intensity.
Really? I don't think that he's that intense in real life. I think he might be quiet and suave accidentally. Or like when he really puts his mind to it. I'm sure like when he's trying to woo a lady, he really gets down in there.
The evilness that kind of pops out towards the end, you know, the easy sadistic killer part, I don't think so.
I should hope not.
You know, I should hope not. I hope not.
And
but I don't know. He's killed people in 2 movies now.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the. And he's done it in murder. He did it in Murder by Numbers too.
Murder by Numbers.
Which, yeah, the one that just like that broke the dam on. It's like, yes, well, okay, hello. This is
Ryan Gosling.
Look,
Gosling
this is my new obsession. Hello, sir.
As well as Sandra Bullock.
Right. And character smug level, 1 to 5. I'm gonna say 4.
I'm gonna say 3.
Okay.
Only because it's unintentional smugness.
Interesting. Okay. I can see that, because it seems like there are some points in times where
He has no idea what he's doing.
yeah, mostly when he's around her.
Right. But driving, total smugness.
Oh yeah, totes.
Fierceness and being able to handle your shit. Because he's not scared of any of these people. So
No.
in that, yeah, I give him a 4.
Which I absolutely love. Like they all like. What's fun, the scene where he is in the bathroom talking to Standard, and he's like, "Who are these people?" He's like, "What? You gonna go beat them up for me?" And he just never flinches. He's just like,
No.
"What they want?" Like,
Right. Like, you're my new best friend. I need you to help me with this job. That's kind of how that happened. It's just
Right.
like, you're impressive, sir.
Right. And now it's time for readings from the Book of Gosling. 100 Reasons to Love Ryan Gosling. Number 56. He'll do cheesy weird shit, like appearing in Funny or Die's drunk history sketch alongside that hashtag lucky bitch E-Mend and Jim Carrey. Wait, did I read this last time?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I did. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're doing.
Because I hadn't seen it.
Okay, so let's now readings from the Book of Gosling. Number 57. He knows he's a bit of a weirdo. When I was a kid, I was walking to school and saw a guy on a motorcycle get hit. I walked up to where he was lying on the road. He looked up at me, and my first thought was, I gotta get a motorcycle. What can I say? Clearly, there's something wrong with my brain.
Okay, he might be a little more like this character than we thought.
I gotta get a motorcycle. What?
Not, can I get you some help?
Right. It's like,
Yeah,
man,
get me a motorcycle.
you weirdo. All right. At number 58, he's a dog whisperer. Goss has revealed the following about his dog's innermost thoughts. He looks like a little guy in a suit, and he doesn't like it that he's a dog. You can tell. You can? Whatever you say, Ryan Animal.
Oh my goodness. That is so adorable.
Bless his soul.
That's so adorable.
All right, so up next, we have The Ides of March.
Which I have not seen.
I saw a long time ago.
George Clooney's in that one, yeah?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yep. So it's like more of a political button-up, yeah type thing.
I hate political movies.
Same seas. All right, so please subscribe to the show on Anchor and Spotify. You can leave reviews as well. And yeah, so thanks for listening, and please enjoy your Gosling Gaga.